Hello, my name is Rez. I am a professional game programmer. I do electrical engineering as a hobby. This is day 22, and day 21 felt like kind of a failure. So I'm interested to see what, if anything, we can get from day 22, or if whatever error is happening gets compounded. We have another push button. I feel like we're not using the ones that we have, so maybe we're going to use all of them at this point. We're coming down to the wire. Right, so I think we're going to be building whatever the final form of this thing is. So I've bent these leads. Let's see what day 22 says. We have another push button. It wants us to hook this up here. We're gonna hook this up. Yeah, this looks like the only thing we're gonna do. Today we have another push button. Mount it here, connect it to pin 20. Push and hold until all LEDs have switched on one after another. By doing so, you permanently store the current sequence of notes. Will still be available after you have disconnected. Okay, so we're using its flash memory. Interesting. I think I need to have a better understanding of what's actually happening in this thing. I do. Oh, look, a bunch of paper clips. I do. Like, I'm clearly doing something by holding these buttons down. Like, I'm not actually sure what. So, like, this one was lit when I did this. Now it stayed lit. Yeah. Interesting. I'm not, there's a quote that I like. It's actually a game development quote. This comes from Sid Meier, famous for making games like Civilization. And one of the quotes that he is attributed to is a game is a series of interesting choices. And there is a corollary to that, or not a corollary, there's an implication to that, which is that the decisions need to be interesting. And then, of course, the question is what makes them interesting. And there's actually kind of a lot to unpack with that, because there needs to be decisions. Decision implies a lack of randomness in a lot of ways. It doesn't mean that randomness doesn't have a place in games, but it means that the player needs to understand what's going on and be able to make interesting decisions. Should I go left or should I go right? And if we're playing a game of D&D and you're going down a passage, I say, okay, well, do you want to go left or do you want to go right? The decision is random. It doesn't matter. Who cares? However, if I say, to the left you hear the sounds of water rushing and what sounds like the jangling of chains. To the right, you hear nothing, but it is somehow unnaturally cold. Okay, we don't have a lot of extra information, but you have some. And I've given those types of descriptions and had players sit there for 30 minutes trying to figure out which of these two directions they want to go in. I've given them something to make a decision with. And so that's my problem with this right now, is I have no idea what I'm actually doing with these buttons. So anyway, I've hooked up this button. Oh no, I haven't. I haven't actually hooked up anything because I need to connect this to pin 20. Is 20 connected to anything? No, it's not. So yeah, that's my note here. And I think they could have solved that by just having a bit more text. Some of the other ones have more text and kind of describe what's going on more. This one does not. Not really. So I do, like, I'm trying to press a button. It's certainly doing things. I kind of see that I'm, whichever one is lit is the one that is somehow getting attention, but then like sometimes I'm removing some of the tones and I'm not quite sure what I'm doing to do that. So there's no intentionality beyond with anything that I'm doing when I'm manipulating it. That's my note here, for sure. I don't know. Maybe I just have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to this sort of thing. But let's see. Okay, so here we are. I have hooked up this little push button. According to our thing here, I can press and hold it to like basically flash it to memory. There we go. So I have this sequence. So if I hold this, now it's written it to memory. So now supposedly if I remove power, let it sit here for a minute, let the capacitors discharge and turn it back on, it did in fact store it in memory. So that's good. This chip, as we've said, is just it's just a microprocessor, and internally it has flash memory. The Arduino has this. A lot of other processors have this. Your computer has it. When you boot up into the BIOS, that's just flash memory that's there. If you were to actually look at your motherboard, there's likely a little battery that's right there. There's that CMOS chip. That is your BIOS, and you can use that to set, what's the boot priority and all that kind of stuff. And it's the same kind of thing. So that's all we're doing, is we're saving this into flash memory, which is cool. I wish I knew what I was doing. But I think that's going to be the nature of this, is that I'm kind of experimenting around and playing around. But we still have, 3 days left? So let's see what tomorrow brings.